like to support the channel. Also, you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you.
What do you say when people say where you from?
America. My country is America. I was born in New York.
I don't know where they're from, you know. You must be Caribbean or African.
I hate black people from the UK because you guys have no problem saying that black Americans don't know where they came from, and your example of people who know where they came from is Jamaicans and Haitians. A lot of you guys don't understand how long black Americans have been in the United States. This guy, his name's James Lafayette, and he acted as a spy in the Revolutionary War. One of the reasons America was able to win the war is because he obtained classified information from the British. Black British people are the biggest haters, but it's all black people in the diaspora who hate on black Americans. And really, it's because of jealousy. They grew up watching black American media, and they try to emulate that. In the UK, everything that's cool about their culture came from America. They didn't invent it themselves. I have a friend, let's call him Mello. He joined the military, and he was stationed in like Norway or Sweden. Now in the military, you do get free time, so Mello and his friends went out one night to a bar. And when Mello and his friends got to this bar, there was Nigerians, and they were trying to act like they were American, black Americans. And Mello and his friends basically exposed these people for all being frauds and lying about their identity. Like, everything cool about being black came from black Americans, and that's why everybody in the world who's black tries to emulate what black Americans act like.
Another one. The ethnic group I hate the most is black Americans. I hate them the most.
If you make a list of like the best black people, a lot of them are African Americans.
Yeah.
But if you make a list of the worst black people, the African Americans, like they hold us back but bring us forward. Literally. Like 10 steps forward, 10 steps back.
They got Martin Luther King, but then they got Sexy Red.
But wait, there's more.
The conversation, I had a realization that I am not a part of the culture. I'm a observer of the culture and a sort of sometime a participator in the culture.
And when you first hear that, isn't that hard to hear?
It's hard to hear.
It's hard to hear.
It's very hard to hear.
Because that's not what you thought it was.
Right.
You felt like you were in there.
No, hearing this right now is like.
But when you call a spade, culture is compa and guyan. No matter how much I love.
Hurt me, bruh.
No matter how much I love rap, my culture isn't cornbread and ham hocks.
Right.
Even though I with it.
But
I'm a sauce spot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You was born in Haiti or you was born here?
Born
no,
here.
we're born here.
Yeah.
But the culture and the foundation of what they stand on has already been laid before we got here, right? So when we come here, we getting the Jordans and we getting the thing, we watching Fresh Prince, and that's us observing the culture and then mimicking the culture to a certain degree. We're not of the culture.
And because we look like
but
them,
even
and because
though
they invite us in and feel like home.
Yeah, even though, bro, this conversation up, Chris.
All right, so I had to actually record this because it did not pick it up the first time. So anyways, so we have technically 4 clips directly in one, right? So you have the one young brother, Adonis, who moved directly to the UK in order to do the videos that he does, and also to educate the black populace there, right? And which is, again, dope content. Check him out if you haven't seen him before. He's on Twitter, he's on IG, TikTok, and YouTube as well, right? And you saw in the first clip, he asked the young girl, about certain things, right? And she proceeded to state that, they don't know where they come from. I'm like, yo, what are you even sitting up there talking about? I'm like, and you sound real confident. You sound real confident in how it is that you're posturing yourself as if you're some type of historian. They don't know where they come from. I'm like, that's the same thing that your gods in the UK said. That's the same thing that, your king and queen sat up there and stated about black people. Like, hey, they don't know where they come from. They don't know their history. They said the exact same thing about y'all because y'all here. Y'all over there directly in the UK taking part in whatever they got going on in the UK. So you'll be real quick to sit up there and tell people like, oh, heritage-wise, I'm Jamaican, I'm Caribbean, I'm this, I'm that, and all this other type of stuff, right? To, in a sense, give context to show that you know exactly where it is that you came from, even though you've never actually been there yourself. You've never even visited. You just know by way of proxy by your parents, right? And then he proceeds to ask her, a few questions, right? And she is failing dreadfully. And the one thing I want to point out, I want people to understand, is that there are tons of books directly out here, and there's more information that has come out over time showcasing the fact that black Americans have been in America for a very, 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 very long time. We're talking about generationally. We're talking about, we got people out here. Shout out to Officer Haku. He could trace his lineage back to the 18, 17 plus hundreds. That's quite a bit. We're in 2024. You're talking about generation upon generation. Like that's a lot of grandparents that we're talking about. That's a lot of descendants. That's a lot of family that we're talking about. Not only that, not only was he able to trace that back, he also traced back the fact that he has land. His family has land. So when people want to sit up there and state that we don't know where it is that we come from, yes, we do. Because mind you, a lot of these people that want to, get on Black Americans, when they go home, do they got any land? Can they even fight for any land that is actually theirs? Like I said, let's talk shop, right? But again, I guess that's for a whole different country. Because if we're going to talk about Africa, Africa is getting, colonized again. You got America putting hands. You got Russia. You got China. It's going up to the highest bidder, and it's like the African people don't even understand it. Then you got the people over there in the islands and the Caribbeans. You got Europeans and Americans coming directly over there, and they're trying to move their buy-up land, and they're trying to, change the face. They're trying to set in rules and regulations to a place of which that they were not born or didn't even come from. It's crazy how that works out. But you're not going to tell them that they don't know where they came from. You're not going to sit up and try to explain history to those folks. You're going to let them do whatever it is that they do. So then you had another video where you had some others that wanted to have a conversation about Black Americans and all of these things. And the exact same thing happened again. But, the funniest thing is when you look at a lot of these conversations that people are having about Black Americans, notice the way that they dress. It's looking real urban. It's looking real American. Because if you are to look at their culture, I'm like, culturally, that's not your garb. That's not how you guys dress. You didn't invent that. You didn't make that. You didn't style that. You didn't make that cool. You didn't make it fashionable for everybody to wear. So I'm like, why don't you have these conversations in your everyday natural garb that is directly from your culture? Why don't you do that? Like, you got so much pride. Again, you got so much pride. You got so much energy. You got so much talk and voice that you want to, speak and say, things about Black Americans. Yo, be proud about who you are. Because it's crazy, again, when Black Americans say that we are from here, this is our place, this is our spot, this is our home, and we don't got to look nowhere else, people start getting mad. People want to start changing the narrative. People want to start telling Black Americans, oh no, this is, you obviously have to be, Jamaican, Caribbean, you obviously have to be African, you have to be somewhere else. You can't just solely be from there. I need people to open up a dictionary. I need people to open up a book. Again, when you look at the definition for American, it will tell you the original definition was for the copper-complected Aboriginal individuals who the Europeans first saw here. So that means that there were people here before the Europeans. Are people not, learning that over there in the UK? Or are people just thinking that Columbus just came here and then they just brought a whole bunch of people over? There were people already here on every single continent. There were people here before any Europeans set sails anywhere. So I'm a little bit confused. You got Aboriginal people that were in Australia, and they were also thrown into extinction by the Europeans. Right? Remember, South Africa, that was black. But guess what happened? The Europeans came there, and they made sure to clear off the field. But like I said, nobody wants to talk about that. So then, I made sure to try to balance it out, to where people are, talking negatively and out the side of their mouth. And then to where you have people that know exactly, what it is, right? So the young man Adonis that was schooling him, it was a 2-in-1, right? And then the second one where you got the other guys sitting on their podcast, talking negatively in the middle on the second clip. And then the last clip, I want to give a special shout out to those brothers there for having an honest conversation. And it's a conversation that needs to be had amongst a lot of people in the diaspora as well. Like I said, I can have love and I can acknowledge a lot of people directly out here. And that's being respectful, right? If anybody comes directly into your home, you're going to acknowledge them, you're going to appreciate them, and you're going to respect them. So when other people from other places come over and they observe the culture and they want to take part because they love it, I'm like, yo, that's dope. But all we do is we want respect in return, and we don't just so happen to get that. But the last brothers there gave that. They had an honest conversation. It was like, yo, man, when I'm originally from such and such and such, and that's just the guy that I am. It's like, yo, I mess with, Black American culture, but I know I am not that. Right. And I respect that honesty. And I wish a lot of others would have that exact same honesty to put a spot, okay, this is who I am and this is, what I'm about. I mess with black culture, but I cannot claim it. That is not me. The other brother that was there, he said the exact same thing. He was like, yo, when I had to have that conversation, it was like, yo, it blew my mind. It threw me for a complete loop. Like, yo, that really, hurt. And like I said, the truth, it does hurt. But like I said, the truth is just, it's honesty. It's not meant to, hurt somebody's feelings. That's just how it comes out. Right. And I respect the fact that brother, he was as honest about his feelings towards it. And then, he went into the level of acceptance after he got over the emotional part. And I respect that. We need a lot more of that so that people can actually appreciate the culture the way that it should be appreciated and not, mocked and taken advantage of, in a sense, for other people's interests when they see some type of benefit or monetary value directly in it. Right. So like I said, all black people really want is respect when it deals with our culture, when it deals with us. We want people to stop speaking negatively on us, right? You're going to have black Brits, wanting to speak and say all of this stuff, but everything that they pretty much do is mimicking black American culture. You can go from the rap. Originally, if you go back and look up rap in the UK, it was not like how it is now. They were doing a lot of mimicking. They were doing a lot of copying up until they finally got into their own sound and started talking about their own things, their own place, and making that cool. And like I said, I respect that. But again, it had to come from somewhere. And then you can look at the fashion. You can look at the walk. You can look at the talk. You can look at the actions. Again, that came directly from us. That stems directly from America originally. Because when you originally look at the UK and you look at, the black Brits over there, yeah, they weren't doing none of that stuff. They were not doing that. They were following the exact same thing that everybody else over there in the UK was sitting up there doing. Don't matter if they was African, Jamaican, Indian, Asian. Everybody was pretty much doing the exact same thing, follow the leader. Up until people started to divert and do their own things and yada, yada, yada. But anyways, let me know what y'all think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.